Welcome back to A Sprinkle of Disney and a huge welcome to episode 5 of our podcast. Still can't quite believe we've done this many episodes, to be honest. I think we're both shook about that. But thank you again for listening to all of our Disney rambles that we've had so far. And if you're new here, welcome, and we hope that you enjoy this episode and maybe so much that you go back and listen to our previous episodes. And now that there's 5 of them, you've got quite the list to go through.
That's like a whole working day. You could spend a whole working day listening to our podcast. That's cool.
Yeah, that'd be great for like background noise, because I work with background noise, so that'd be perfect. So yeah.
Your own voice is a bit different though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't do it myself. So you may be thinking that the title is a little different to what you were expecting. So we've had a little change in plans for this week. So we're bringing you the Marvel episode just at a later date. So we'll be confirming that, but it'll still be coming. So do not worry. We'll still be doing the Marvel episode if you were looking forward to that one. But we're doing a different themed episode this week. So Katie will discuss what the new theme is in a second. But we're both excited for this one, and it actually follows on conveniently very nicely from our last episode.
Actually.
So it's on topic.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason. So I'm really excited now, actually. So today we're going to be discussing our work experiences and ambitions within the Walt Disney Company. So first, Rosie's going to be interviewing me. I feel a bit like a celebrity. It's about when I worked as a cast member in Walt Disney World in 2017, which I know I've mentioned briefly in previous episodes, but this way we've got more chance to go into more detail into the Disney secrets, and then we'll move on to discuss our dream roles at Disney, or at least the type of role we'd love to do. I know we both have them. I have one like in the parks, and then like a more like dream Disney.
Same actually. Yeah
And then we'll also discuss any roles that we would just love to experience, like even though we'd need to be more experienced in those roles. So like something we could probably never do because I don't know, like a costume designer. I can't.
Yeah, we just don't have the experience.
But not that well. Like I patch up my leggings, but that's about it. So we're really excited about this one today. We think it's going to be like quite personal to us, which seems to be the kind of content that you guys like, and it's the one that we probably prefer as well. So that's the structure of today.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
And that brings us to Disney fun fact number 1, and they are all obviously Disney park themed, of course. So Disney's Magic Kingdom spans 142 acres, whilst Disneyland in Anaheim, California covers just 85 acres. Both sound so small when you remember that Disney World as a whole is some 25,600 acres, which is the same as 2 Manhattan Islands. Do you know, this was the first thing I remember the night that I got to Disney. My flight had been delayed by like 5 hours. And it was just a bit of a nightmare. And I remember like getting on the Disney Magical Express and driving like through the like Welcome to Disney World sign. And I hadn't been since I was 3, so I didn't really remember it very well. I think I remember like walking under a fountain in Animal Kingdom, and that was about
vague details.
Yeah, so I didn't remember the size of it. Like when you drive under that arch, it's literally like another motorway. It's like 5 different motorways there. It's so big.
It is crazy that Magic Kingdom is like basically the same size as the whole of Disneyland in California. Like that is
crazy.
Mad. Like you wouldn't think that.
I think because I remember reading the fact that like, obviously because Walt had to pick the bit in Anaheim like within the city, whereas obviously Disneyland, Disney World, he was sneaky. He was like buying bits of land for years, like under different names, so no one clicked to what he was doing. He's very sneaky, very clever,
very worth it.
So big, like because obviously you've got all the different parks which are huge in themselves. Then you have the 2 water parks, and then you have all the car parks.
There's so much stuff there.
And there's like golf courses, and then all the resorts and all the shops and then all the warehouses. And I just think it's literally like, I think it's classed as like a different part. It's like part of celebrations. It's like in Orlando technically.
Yeah.
So it's like a completely different area. So I'll never get over how big it is ever.
No, because like people actually refer to it as a city sometimes as well, because they're like, it literally is.
Because it's honestly like when you go through that arch, if you've been, like, you'll know, or you can just see as like overlapping roads, and like you can't even see any parks at that point. You know, like when you go on the motorway and there's like all the different signs on the top. That's what it's like, but just with like Magic Kingdom on instead.
That's so cool.
That definitely like shook me when I went. I didn't realise it would be that big. Like I expected to kind of head up under the sign and just drive right into Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, I think especially as like if you went to Disneyland Paris as your first Disney park, so
Yeah.
obviously that's a lot smaller. So like going from that,
Yeah.
and I imagine when I eventually go, I will feel quite overwhelmed with how big it is because it's
Yeah.
just such a different scale.
Even like arriving and stuff like that, the fact that you like arrive by monorail to Magic Kingdom, or you arrive by boat, or you have to like go to the Contemporary and
Yeah,
then
like the
walk down, like,
transports, there's so many different types. That in
so
itself just
yeah.
shows how big it is because they need lots of different ways to get around.
Oh, which is amazing because when you get there, like it is, you are very much immersed in the magic, which is very
Yeah,
cool. But it is absolutely huge.
yeah,
And they're still building, which I think that was what was so clever is that Walt bought so much land that he just keeps going and going.
yeah. That he can like they can actually expand. They can just keep
Yeah.
going. It's yeah,
Ah,
it's great. It's just making me want to be there, but it's
I
okay.
know. Fine, we'll talk about it instead.
Yeah, so as you may know, if you've listened to any of our previous episodes, Katie's worked in Walt Disney World for 3 months in the summer of 2017. I hope that's right.
Yes, it is. I'm very impressed. Well done.
Yeah, see, I love how I remember it because I feel like I was there because I was living through your pictures at the
That
time.
is true. I also talk about it a lot.
Yeah, you did. But it's okay.
Yeah.
So you did that as part of the Disney's cultural exchange program.
Yes.
So yeah, it's very exciting. And as you can imagine, that sort of experience comes with many invaluable memories and stories and secrets. So we thought it would be good to do an interview-like segment where I basically act as a host and I interview Katie about her experience. So you guys can find out more about the program, but also about what it's like working for Disney, specifically in Walt Disney World. So the thing is, I obviously knew quite a lot about this, like when you were kind of applying for it, because I was there with you when we're part of the
You're
Disney
on my
Society.
journey.
So I heard a lot about it at the time. But what I'm
Yeah.
interested in about is like, there's some questions that I probably have never asked you before
That's
about
true.
this. So I'm hoping this will reveal new things to me as well.
I think it'll be quite good because I think we can probably do like a little snippet now, like a brief bit, and then if people like it, I have so much to talk about. It's really sad, but like I have so much to talk about, so we probably won't even get through everything that I did or the application process today. So, if you do like it, let us know, and we can do like another, like a full in detail depth.
Yeah, we can do like a full like Q&A episode.
Yeah. Because I saw lots of things, which is great.
So I'll get started with question number 1 then.
How exciting.
So I've kind of done it in a chronological way so that it makes sense for you to go through these things in this
that would
order.
be easier,
I'm not going to be like, oh, so how's your last day? Like, no, we're going to start from the beginning.
There was a lot of tears. How my last day
Yeah, and I also think that might be a bit of a depressing way to start. So we'll begin with the exciting.
Reach for the wine before we'd even like done the first question.
I'd probably just be in tears. I'd be like, oh, my trip. But anyway. First question. So I think this is interesting for people to find out. So how did you apply for the cultural exchange program with Disney, and what was the process like? So in terms of like, was it a good process? Was it competitive? Was it difficult? That sort of thing.
Very, very good question. So the kind of 2 separate parts. So the first one was, I remember going to Disneyland Paris in my first year at uni, so that would have been 2016. And I remember going back and I remember sitting on the pavement in the parade and just thinking like, I want to work in Disney Park. Like I wanted to as a kid, but at that point I was 18 and I was thinking I can do it now, like it's viable, people here are my age. So when we went home, I went onto Disney's career website and had like a little look to see like how I could get hired and what the jobs would be, etc. And it just propped up that they had like international programs, and I was like, oh, what's this? Had a little look, and they have international programs across the world within different lengths, and the one that I found was the cultural exchange program, which is 3 months for university students, like between their summer term and their like winter term. So in like the summer break. So when I clicked on that, it actually took me to like a different page, because when you apply for this in the UK, you apply through a recruiter instead of directly through Disney. So there's a recruiter called Yummy Jobs who like filter the applications, if you like, up until the final step. So I went onto there, found that they do 2. So they do the cultural exchange program, which is 3 months for university students, and then they do the cultural representative program, which is a 12-month program. That's for anybody. So anybody, I think it's over like 18 can apply for that. Anyone can do that one. So that one is just for Epcot. That's just for like the area of Epcot, for like the English Pavilion. So that's a representative one. That's where they get those people from. It's just there. Whereas the cultural exchange one, you can kind of be anything. Apart from a face character, so apart from like friends with like a princess. You could be friends with someone like Pooh or Tigger or Buzz Lightyear, but you couldn't be friends with a princess because that's too long a training program.
Yeah.
For when we were there, but you can do basically anything else within the cultural exchange program. So they're the difference between the two.
Mm-hmm.
So I found that one. I was like, right, we'll give it a go. So the initial application, I think, was in July or August, and I applied. This was in 2016 because I'd actually just applied for Camp America, like a style thing, the year before.
Yeah.
And that was a nightmare. I think I'd applied with like a different company, and they wanted me to renew my passport and then like pay the whole trip before I even had an allocated space, and it just ended up being a nightmare.
A bit dodgy.
Yeah. So I was planning to go to America the summer before anyway, and I was a bit gutted that ended. So I was like, oh, so this came around. Everything happens for a reason, people, honestly, because I probably couldn't have afforded to have gone, and I wouldn't have found out about it had I come to America the summer before. So I did my application form. The application form was quite simple. General information about you, a CV and a cover letter as to why you want the role, and then they ask you, this is the hardest part of the application, is they ask you specific questions, and they have like word limits. So it was things like, why is cultural exchange important to you, like why would you be good for this job, those kind of questions, which are really hard because everyone's probably going to say the same thing,
but also you kind of want to write quite a lot. You want to get like enough said, but like if it's a word limit, you're restricted.
It was tricky. It was really tricky. So I think there was like 2 or 3 of those ones, and then you just had to submit it and just kind of pray. I wasn't kind of hoping for much because you were asking, is it competitive? And yes, it's massively competitive. So to the whole of the UK as well, like it's England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales, so it's like all over,
and loads of people want to do it,
so many. I didn't realise how many people were actually aware of it. I was fuming. So I then waited, I think probably about a month, heard back early September, and I was told that I'd got to round 2, which was the group interview stage, and I was invited down to Essex for a group interview. So at the point I was pretty much broke, so I think I got the coach down like overnight, and I got the tubes like an hour to Essex, and went to this tiny little door. I was convinced I was in the wrong place. This tiny little door in this street that had like yummy jobs, and all these people were waiting outside. I was like, okay, good, I'm in the right place. But it was really intimidating because there were so many people.
Yeah, that's when you see your competition, isn't it?
Yeah. So. And they were running. So I think there was 50 people in each session, in each group, like in each like afternoon session, if you like, and they were running a morning and afternoon session for 2 weeks, so the volume of people that they were interviewing was insane. So you're looking at what, like about 1,000 people, like ish. That's just in the like the first interview stage, let alone the application stage. So I was like, having reached this point, I'm quite happy. So we went in and we kind of had like a presentation from the Yummy Jobs recruiters, all about the program, and then you had to put in like a preference for the roles that you would want. So they literally list everything from like lifeguard to cleaner to like someone who like basically cleans the fashion,
wow, it's very specific,
costumes, to character attendants, to face characters, to everything and anything. So they just kind of like ask you to tick which ones you'd be happy doing, and just because obviously the more that you tick, the more likely you are to get a position. I ticked all of them except for cleaner in the resort and the fashion, like the costuming facility. The reason for that wasn't because I was being snobby, it was because they were the 2 non-guest facing roles, and I was like, I don't want to go and spend my summer in Disney World for 3 months and literally sit in a warehouse or like clean dirty rooms, when I like what I wanted to go for was the magic. And I was like, I worked hard hours, which I'll probably tell you about in a bit, so it wasn't about like a lack of hard work, it was just I wanted to kind of help create that magic for guests, and I couldn't do that in those roles. So they suited more people who kind of weren't as confident with other people, who kind of weren't as confident with improv or like speaking to people. So they're also not very popular, I don't think, like amongst international programs, just because of that reason. So I put everything down, and then we had our group interview. So we were split into groups of about 6 or 7. And I was dreading the group interview because I think they're so awkward and weird, because like, you want to tell yourself, say everything about yourself, but not come across as like obsessive. And
it's hard not to come across like arrogant, but also you're there to do that, so you have to, otherwise you won't get the job.
I had a fantastic recruiter who basically was really good at like asking specific people the questions. And we were lucky because my group, most recruiters had like 2 groups within the session. Mine only had 1, so my interview ended up being like an hour and a half as opposed to like an hour, which was quite nice.
So you had more time.
Which was nice. So they also have, you probably seen like the Disney like Magic Kingdom wall, you might have seen like in the photographs people share from Yummy Jobs. So I got or a
That's
picture
really
of
cool.
that instead. And we all had like our team names were all like Disney characters. It was great. And then I went home and was like, that was nice. Probably won't get through to the next one. There's so many people. So that was September. Spent the night in London and was like, oh my god, I'm never ever going to get past this point. And then I think, when did I next hear back? I think it was November. I think it was the end of September, I think, that I kind of had that interview. And then I think November I got contacted again and said that I'd made it through to stage 3.
Yeah.
So stage 3 was an individual interview with a Disney recruiter, not Yummy Jobs with Disney. So then I had to travel to London again, and I travelled to City Centre London to Disney headquarters in London, which was so cool.
That's so exciting.
Honestly, like I went with our other friend Danielle at the time. She came down with me, and we were trying to find this building for about half an hour because like it's not on the maps properly. Like it's like it was really hard to find. We kept walking past this woman in the shopping centre trying to sell us a Bible, and I was like, listen, I think she
This
thought
isn't
we
the
were crazy.
vibes. That's not the vibes you want when you're trying to get a Disney job.
So I went to this, I finally found it, and it's like a massive like glass front with like Steamboat Willie in the front. And I was like, oh my god, this is so magical. I think the poor like security guards thought I was like had problems because I was just walking in like, oh my god. You walk in and there's like a diamond encrusted, or like a gem encrusted Mickey Mouse in a glass case.
Yeah.
Wow. So I got given like an ID badge, got escorted upstairs, to like this. I can only explain. It was like a lobby, but like Iron Man suit was just there.
So cool.
Like all around the edge of the that kind of like lobby area were like into the wall. Yeah. Were, like original prints and like little like figurines and stuff. Like it was so cool. They had like it was like, around when Moana came out, so they had like a really big like Moana cinema cut out you could get pictures with and stuff. So, I was so nervous because there was about 5 or 6 of us, and then the Yummy Job recruiters were there as well. But they were just kind of there to like settle us or whatever, and they were quite nervous as well. So I was like, oh my god, I'm in Disney headquarters. And of course I was like the last person to be called into the interview room as well.
Oh yeah, so that's the worst position to be in, because you overthink everything. You start to forget like what you've got in your head, and
then people were coming up being like, it was great, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, you don't want to know that.
No. So then someone came up and was like, is anybody putting themselves forward for a character position? And I was, because I love acting, so, but no one else said it, so it was really awkward. I was like, me? And they were like, oh, can you come over to this wall and like take off your shoes? And I was like, oh my god, like I'm in Disney headquarters and I'm taking my shoes off, like what's happening? Like I dressed really like formally as well. So I was like,
yeah.
Okay. So I took off my shoes, I was like, I hope I don't have any holes in my tights. And then they kind of like had a measurement, a bit like a Mary Poppins style measuring tape to measure my height. They have like different heights for different like category of character. So yeah, I wrote that down and then like said, right, give that to the recruiter. It had Smee on it, and I was like,
that's just not the one.
Like, that's fine. To be fair, I would have quite liked to have played Smee, but at the time I was expecting like Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, like
Mouse. No,
Mr.
Smee. So then I got called in, and the guy was lovely. I can't actually remember his name. I think was it Josh? It might have been Josh. But he was really, really lovely. He was like, right, come in. And I was interviewed in the Marvel room, so the whole like room was covered in like original Marvel comic print and stuff, which is really cool. That's really cool. The interview was probably about 15 to 20 minutes, and it was such a nice interview where he just asked me basically like about my life and about my experiences and what I enjoyed. That's nice. And he did say that when I gave him the piece of paper, he was like, unfortunately, like they're not. My character height wasn't available on the program. I think it was because it was so specific. And I think if you play like that height of character, then I think it was kind of like it came up more on special occasions as opposed to being like a full-time thing.
Yeah, like a permanent position.
So then I really wanted a character attendant, which I'll talk about later in our like dream roles. So and I'll never forget, because he made me feel so comfortable, even that like, and he'd come from the US as well. They'd flown over from America to interview us, and I was his last one of the whole interview section. And as I kind of stood up to leave, I was like, thank you. And as I went to leave, he literally went, did you know that you have such a lovely personality? He was like, so you're just so bubbly and friendly. And at that point I was like, he.
That kind of gets your hopes up at that point.
A little bit. I was like, if you didn't give me a jab, that's a bit tight, innit?
Yeah, that was
so. But it was really, really lovely. But that was really difficult leaving there, because I was like, I can't do anything else. That was the end. So, and that was it. Then he then went and had lunch and went back to America. So I was like, oh God.
And that was just like the waiting process then after that.
Yeah, so that was November, and I found out December. I remember I was on the house on my own, and I was in December, and I got the email through. I think I got one through from Yummy Jobs and from Disney, basically saying like congratulations, and I was like, oh my god, like I was jumping around the house, nobody was in. I
So
tried calling
sad.
my family, nobody would pick up, and I was like,
That's
oh my
so
god.
sad, because you just want to celebrate it with people and there's no one
Honestly.
there.
I think and then my dad eventually picked up, and then my nan picked up, and I was like, guess what? I was actually jumping up and down like a lunatic. At that point, they don't tell you like where you're working or what you're doing.
Yeah.
They just tell you on the program. So that was in December. I didn't start until the June. So it's like a year-long process basically before you start. Is it competitive? Yes, it's so competitive, and that's with about 300 people. I think 300 people get a slot. But if you think about the fact that like over like 1,000-ish people are kind of interviewed, it's crazy. So yes, it answers the question. I think it's very, very competitive. The process was great. I really enjoyed it in terms of like the experiences. So at the point where I went to Disney headquarters, I was quite happy to just get to that point and not even
that's
get
an experience in itself. Like that's nice as it is. So like even if you didn't get it, at least you can be like, well, I went there, like I did that. It was a nice experience. So yeah.
And the people were so friendly. Like when I was leaving, I was like, do you mind if I take a picture with the Mickey Mouse? So I got some great pictures. I remember leaving thinking, I've got a picture with Iron Man, I've got a picture with Moana, and a picture with like a jewel Mickey Mouse. I've had the best.
It's not
day.
Your standard job application situation where you walk out, you know, like you had actual pictures. It was a nice experience.
Yeah,
so
it wasn't like I went and sat in like a dark room. I was like surrounded by Marvel, and like I say, the recruiter was so lovely. So it was a really nice day. Anyway, so yeah, it was great, and it was great to kind of get the job. Scary, but great.
Oh, well, next question then. So I don't know if you actually have this, but anyway, I was going to say, what was your job title? I know obviously like you're a cast member, but like, I didn't know if you had a specific title. And what did your role entail?
Yes, so my official job title was merchandise hostess, which is Disney's way of magicifying sales assistant.
Yeah, it's nice though.
Yeah, it was really nice. So I think I found out about a month before I got there, 2 weeks, a month before I got there, because I got at the end of December, and then I had to go for like my visa appointments and pay them money around Christmas and January, and kind of set up like all the official stuff. You have to wait for your visa to come through and all that kind of stuff. And then it got to about May time, and we got a letter through basically saying that I'd been allocated to merchandise, and then they just put like a really cryptic like code. Obviously for them it's all like coded location. So I was like, I have no idea where it was. I think it said like Springs West Side, and I'd never been to Disney World since I was 3, so I didn't remember. I was like, what is Disney Springs? So I was like googling it and stuff. So they still don't give you a lot of information at that point. So it's only when you get there that you kind of like, you're then given you information about like your job, where you're based and stuff like that. So my job was merchandise hostess, which basically meant that I worked in some of the shops in Disney Springs. So I worked in the Star Wars shop, which is called Galactic Outpost. I worked in the superhero headquarters, which is Marvel. I worked in Candy Cauldron, and I also worked like on the glow carts outside. Like, oh my god, where they sold the bubbles. I still get PTSD when I see bubble ones in Disney. I went to the Disney shop the other day. They had them. I freaked out. And I worked like in the. It was called D-Living, but it's different. It's Ever After now. So I worked in a lot of different places. I also worked in Disney Quest. Well, I was supposed to work in Disney Quest before it closed. But the great thing about merchandise is that you could switch locations, whereas you couldn't do that with something like food and beverage. You couldn't switch. So it wasn't necessarily the one that I wanted. I wanted character attendant, and I wanted to be in a park, and I was quite a bit gutted that I found I was in Springs. I'd never seen a Star Wars movie. I'd seen like a few Marvel, but that was a bit gutting because I was like, I really wanted to be in a park, because I was like, that's where like my expertise was. But I ended up meeting the best people there. Everything happens for a reason. So yeah.
Well, that was actually going to be my next question. So I was going to say, were you happy with where you were positioned in Disney, and was there somewhere else you would have preferred to have been positioned?
Yeah, I really wanted to work in Magic Kingdom. That was where I wanted be in a park because there was quite a different atmosphere within a park and within Springs because you don't pay to go into Springs.
Yeah, so anyone can go there without tickets, can't they? So
which means that from a management point of view, it is a lot more money focused. Whereas from a park point of view, I mean, it's Disney, so guest satisfaction is always a priority, but it was more a priority in the parks people have paid to go. Whereas obviously in Springs you hadn't, so it was very sales focused. So, and you tended to just get like a lot of people who just would obviously weren't really feeling the magic themselves either because they hadn't been to the parks. And it was just very sales based. Like we didn't have a lot of like magical moment stuff that we could do. Like I would have preferred to have been in a park. I'd have preferred to be somewhere that was more princess based because that's where I'm a classic Disney like person. Like I say, I had to get my trainer Regina, who was wonderful, but I had to get her to explain the premise of Star Wars to me in my training. I just hadn't seen a film, so people would come in and be like, "Oh, have you got this?" And I was like, let me check the iPad.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult if you don't know what that is or who they are. Yeah.
Like, for context, like, Rosie knows this, but for context, like, when I went to see the first Star Wars film that I saw was number 7. And when Rey came on the screen, I didn't realise the whole time gap thing. So in my head, I was like, oh, is that Princess Leia? And the guy that we went to see it with at the time just gave me, like, the biggest glare ever. And was like, so that was the context that I had for Star Wars at that point. So it wasn't the best place to place me.
No.
But like I said, like it worked out okay in the end. Like the hours were longer in Springs as well. That was the only problem, like because it used to open later than the parks. So my shifts would normally be till like midnight or 1 in. So whereas when I worked in the park, I did work in the parks quite a bit because you could like pick up shifts. I'd finish at like 9.
That's so quite a nice time.
So yeah, I mean I did, like I say, I loved it, and obviously, like looking back, I wouldn't change it because the people that I met there were amazing. But at the time, I really did want to be somewhere that was more magic focused.
I think, like when you apply for something like this, like obviously you don't want to seem like you don't want to think it's gonna be like perfect, but also you kind of have like a idea in your head of what you would like. You like envision what you'd want. So like I can imagine that it was quite disappointing when you're placed in like a unknown, like with Star Wars, it's not your Disney thing. So like if you're just placed in the shop with that, it's like, oh, this isn't like Mickey and Minnie or princesses.
Because things like Star Wars and Marvel people are so passionate about.
Yeah, exactly. So if you don't know, it's like a real faux pas. Like people will rip your head off and be like, we
had these like flags, like it's like bunting that like went across the shop that had some kind, I still don't know, some kind of Star Wars symbol on it, and people come in and were like, oh, these symbols are the blah 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 blah, and I was like,
of course they are. I knew that.
To ask. I was like, I don't know. But the good thing about being merchandise was, first of all, I had no shop experience before this. I had fast food experience, so I was a bit worried I was going to get put in fast food. But it was really good that they put me in merchandise because I got kind of full shop training without having any experience. So I was able to bring that back to the UK and then get shop experience here. I also got to work in different places. So 2 of my flatmates, Esme and Amy, both worked in fast food, quick service fast food, and they were not fans of it because that was a job that was obviously really repetitive and really difficult. Wasn't really like magic. They didn't get to interact with guests that much, apart from when guests were stressed about the chicken nuggets.
It's not the same.
No, so I was really glad, actually, kind of looking back on the role that I was given. I mean, I would have preferred like attractions or character attendant, but actually working in merchandise was so flexible. The hours were really good in terms of like actually having hours were great. And it gave me a chance to actually speak to guests, which was, I think, was probably the best part. And I could move around as well. So
and it was a new experience for you, like you said,
definitely,
as well. So gain new skills and stuff from it, which is good. So then the other question, you kind of answers it a little bit, is was the experience what you expected it to be / wanted it to be, or were there like any surprises that you were kind of shocked by?
It was definitely kind of what I wanted to be and more. I mean, I'll be honest, it was hard. Like I was working like full-time, I was basically working full-time hours. And I also was planning to go traveling afterwards as well, so I was trying to save up for my traveling afterwards, so I was kind of taking on extra shifts and stuff as well. But the whole, in terms of experience of being in Disney, that was exactly what I wanted it to be. The access to the parks, like the discounts I got were amazing. So all those different things like were were great. It was hard work. I mean, the heat as well was something that I hadn't expected. I knew it would be hot, but for example, like my costumes, oh my god, like they were like dad jeans and like long sleeve stripy shirts, and
Yeah, so in the
I
heat,
wanted a cooler
that's
costume on both ends. I wanted like a more magic costume and one that was shorts.
yeah.
Like when I did the glow cart stuff outside of an evening, like the shorts weren't particularly flattering, to be honest, but I was like, I don't care, like I need
At
to
least
wear
I'm cool. I might not look cool, but I feel
honestly
cool.
So yeah, I think it definitely was, like I say, I mean the hours, the long hours, and because we mainly worked evenings, so
Yeah.
I was an international cultural exchange program, but you may have heard of the college program in America, where obviously college students from America can go to Disney for like their credits as like a semester or whatever alongside their class, and we were like classes the same with them, so we would just call like CPs, which is like college program.
Yeah.
We would also call it ICP sometimes, but we were mainly just CPs. And all the CPs would basically like do the graveyard shift, and it was quite frustrating because you'd have lots of like part-time and full-time staff who maybe weren't as like they didn't follow the rules as much as they should have done, kind of went as maybe like full of magic and stuff as maybe like, you know, the CPs were, because we were really keen to obviously show that off, and
it's less of a novelty to them, I guess, as well. Like, even
True.
though like you should be passionate, I feel like, and you should like keep the enthusiasm, so it's kind of sad that they're not.
It was just difficult, I think, because there were some full-time members that I worked with who were fantastic, but there were also a lot who just kind of didn't really, like, there were quite specific rules, for example, about like you were given like different tasks, especially in the shops. Where, like, every time somebody had a break, everyone would rotate around their position, so you'd kind of get bumped around positions. So like, you'd be on till, and then you'd come back and you'd swap out for somebody else, and they'd be like, oh, actually you're on greeter, and you'd come back, and like lots of the full-time staff would just kind of stand at the till, even though that wasn't their job, and that made life really hard for us because like that was our position, so you don't want to cause conflict, but you
it kind of messes it up for you, like you don't know what you're supposed to be doing.
But quite often they used to have the like morning till mid-afternoon or evening shift, and then we used to pick up between 3 and 6 and take over the evening shift. So that bit sucked a little bit, because it was quite often where my friends would kind of be out in the evenings and I couldn't go. But other than that, no, like it was great. I mean, I probably had like between 1 and 2 days off a week, sometimes I'd have 3. And then obviously like in and around my shifts, I could do days in the park, I could do like an hour in the park or like whatever. So yeah, it was amazing. It was.
Yeah, lots of benefits as well.
Definitely.
Nice.
I mean, the discounts, I think I got like 15% discount on merchandise. I got, and then across restaurants we got different ones depending on the time. So there was some that I got like 40% off at some of the character restaurants for like breakfast or whatever.
Which is so good because they're so
it
expensive.
Was amazing. Yeah, it was great. Like putting like my blue Disney ID like in the
it's like a gold card kind of situation.
Honestly, it was like Willy Wonka's like golden ticket.
Yeah. So what was your favourite non-Disney thing to do when you were in Florida?
Oh, that's a great question. I actually went to a baseball game because Disney housing, so like when you go to an ICP, you basically like live in Disney like owned housing. It's quite expensive for what it is, but it's good because like all the buses go to and from work and stuff like that, and they're all included in the price. So yeah, I'm gonna have to pay for travel and stuff in terms of going to work, which was good. But they used to run like recreational, like cultural events. So myself and my roommate Jenna found on the website they were doing a baseball game. And we were like, oh my God, let's go. So it was amazing because although it was with Disney, it was like obviously outside of
it's not a Disney themed thing.
No, and I think I paid $80 to go, but that was including the coach, which was like 2.5 hours.
Oh wow, yeah.
Like 2.5, an hour and a half, something like that, into Tampa Bay. I went and saw the Tampa Bay race. Did not have a clue what was going on, because American baseball was just insane. Like, the size of the arena, or the whatever you call it, was insane. And we got, because we were with Disney, we had a box. So we went, we had like wristbands. So we went like up to our box, and our box had like a buffet and like drinks, and it was amazing. So like that $80 included my food and drink for the night, and my seat, and my coach. Which was just amazing. And really they have like, their games are like 3 hours long, but then like underneath the baseball, like the seating area, it's like shopping areas and play areas, and no one sits still. Like,
wow,
when you look down, because the game doesn't stop, but like when you look down, because we were on the box of like up high,
Yeah.
you look down and people are constantly moving out of their seats, like with food and games and drinks, and
It's
I was
weird
just
because in the
shocked.
UK, like we don't. That's not like our culture. Like in the
No.
UK, you might pop out to the toilet or to get another drink,
but you leg it back.
You don't. Yeah, you kind of like you feel a bit like weird about like interrupting. But like, yeah, that's so different. That sounds
It was
more like
honestly.
chill.
And I remember because me and my friend Jenna got lost because it was that big. 'Cause it was like
Yeah.
a circle. So we were like, right, let's go and have a look at like some of the shops before like the last round or whatever, the last
Yeah.
inning. It was a circle. We absolutely got lost. We kept walking past our staircase, and I've bought. You've probably seen actually. It's like a Tampa Bay like jersey because it was on offer for like $10.
Yeah.
It's too big for me, and I bought a hat that was too big for me. But hey ho, you know, when in America,
Souvenirs.
yeah. And we walked past all these people who were leaving. They were leaving before the game had finished. I was like, I don't.
Weird. They must.
It was
Maybe
so
they're
bizarre.
pass holders, or maybe that's a normal thing.
No,
I don't know.
there was loads of people that were leaving.
How weird.
I think it was because I don't know if the game was like. So I didn't really know what was going on, to be honest. So and then they have like cowbells that like they just like kept ringing all the way through the game, and
sounds chaotic.
To be honest, it was quite chaotic. I mean, it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
I think I enjoyed it because it was just so different.
It's like a novelty experience that we don't have.
It was very American.
Yeah.
Which was great. So yeah, and that was really fun. And on the way back, the coach, I think they put that like Looney Tunes basketball game on, so it was a great night.
Oh, that's really cute.
And me and Jenna got some great photographs. They've actually got like a Mickey Mouse baseball, like Mickey Mouse underneath in Tampa Bay, in the Tampa Bay Ray. I think it's like Tropicana Bay Stadium. So we got great pictures as well, which is really cool. So definitely that one.
That sounds really cool. I definitely would like to go to like a sports game in America just because they sound so different.
The atmosphere is insane, to be fair. Yeah. It takes a while to get used to, though.
They go all out as well. They like, literally go out on everything like food, snacks, merch. So like it sounds very interesting.
They have like a play area. There was like a thing that like kids could like queue up to go into this play area at the simulation. I was like, you've paid all this money to go and watch a game.
And you're doing this. That's hilarious. So my next question is, as Disney is so big, is there anything that you wanted to do but you didn't get around to doing when you were there?
Oh my god, yes. There's so many things. I didn't manage to go I didn't go to the boardwalk, which I'm still not really sure what that is, because I never went. It's like a part of there's like some hotels there, so I think it's like
a few hotels there.
The yacht
place.
It's
the Yachtsman, because there's a steakhouse, the Yachtsman place.
Yeah, so there's like, I think it's like the Dolphin Hotel or something. Like Swan Dolphin Hill Hotel. I think I'm around there. But they have Trattoria Kitchen. That do the Tangled breakfast where you can meet Flynn.
Yeah, I've seen vlogs of this. That sounds amazing.
Ariel and Eric, and I just never went. Like one of the things I kept kind of planning, but because of all of our schedule, that was actually one thing I didn't anticipate. All of your friends are working as well, so trying to match up with everybody's schedules is really
do stuff
hard.
Together. Yeah,
especially when you're friends with people who work in the same place as you, because if you're not on, they're probably on. So I had quite a few like solo days. There's quite a lot where I would kind of like to have booked to go with somebody, but people just went free. So I really wanted to have like the sun pancakes. So really sad I didn't get to do that and kind of meet Flynn. But never mind. Next time.
Yeah.
What else didn't I do? There was quite a few things, to be honest, because it is just so big.
It's just so big, it's impossible to do everything.
I definitely didn't visit all of I didn't go to the Hoop to Do review, which is obviously meant to be great.
Oh, that sounds good, yeah.
Yeah, I was meant to go with my flatmates, but I wasn't well at one point, because to be fair, I did get sick a lot in Florida. I think it was to do with the heat and the food, like I'm not really sure.
Probably a combination of all of it.
I was sick quite a bit in terms of like stomach aches.
Yeah.
I also probably like TMI for some people, but I also got really bad period pains over there, which didn't really help. Because they're, even like I said, they're painkillers. I remember going to get like ibuprofen from like the shop on the corner, and like it was like Advil, and it was like $6 a tablet, and I was like, no,
it's ridiculous.
Whereas when I went to Walmart, I got like 100 paracetamol for like $3. It was very odd.
Yeah.
So I wasn't well that one time, and another time I was watching my pennies because I was planning to go traveling.
Yeah.
I didn't get to do the water rapids in Animal Kingdom, which I really wanted to do. I didn't get to go through Rafiki's Planet Watch Animal Kingdom. I didn't get to do they have like animal trails with like gorillas. And
that looks really cool. Yeah.
Because you say you'll do it, and then the day just kind of runs away with you, and it also depends on the people that you're with and what they want to do as well. So.
Yeah. So what you're saying is there's loads of stuff for us to do when we eventually go together.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I think I probably did all of the rides.
Yeah.
I think I probably did all of the rides. Like, I think I did the Dumbo ride, but not really bothered because I did the one in Paris.
Yeah, once you've done it, I feel like it's the
Yeah.
same.
So yeah, I think there was definitely things I did miss. Lots of restaurants I didn't get to eat at
Mhm.
as well.
But that's good in a way though, because it just
It
means
is.
that you've not exhausted everything, and it's like obviously it'll still be exciting if you've done everything, but it's even more exciting knowing you've got loads of new stuff to do when you go back.
Well, yeah, I think even things like I didn't get to meet Pocahontas because you can meet Pocahontas in Animal Kingdom,
Yeah.
but she's like quite hidden out of the way. So there's just quite a few things where, and even like special things like they have photo pass day while I was there, which is amazing. But
Yeah.
like you can meet the villains, but the queue for them, I also wasn't well that day either. I actually had to go home and call out of work that day. I was really sick, but which was quite scary because they made calling out sick out of work really serious. But I then queued for like 3 hours to meet the Evil Queen, whereas like Cruella de Vil and Maleficent were also there, but you couldn't have done all three. There was just no way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there was definitely still things I didn't do. But you're right, it's things that you can then go and you can do like next time, and it proves just how big it is. I was there for 3 months.
Yeah.
And still didn't do everything.
Exactly. Like there's a reason people go back. It's not just to do the same things again.
So true.
Like it's partially that, but it's because they've actually missed so much and they've still got so much to look forward to.
That's so true.
Yeah, and then I guess maybe final question. I'm not even sure how long we've been going with this, to be honest.
Who knows?
So I feel like it's been a while, but I'm not sure. So potentially last question. Was there a piece of Disney merch that you regretted leaving behind?
Oh, that's a great question.
Because I feel like there must have been, right?
I mean, I had to be careful because I obviously had to bring my suitcase back.
And you were saving for travelling, so...
Yeah, I'm trying to show you on video because everyone's listening actually. Sorry, I'm looking for a teddy that you can't even see. The only thing that I really remember bringing back was my Winnie the Pooh plush.
Yeah.
I bought that on the second to last day. Me and my friend Kat she's a massive Donald Duck fan, and we kind of spotted, and they had like a 2 for 15 like a 2 for 30 deal on or something like that, and because we had discount, I think it was 2 for 40 or something like that, and because we had discount I managed to get my Pooh Bear for like $15, which was amazing. So that's the only one that I was really careful with my purchasing, because I was saving as well, and we got paid weekly, which was great, but it meant it was a lot easier to kind of spend everything. What did I mean, there's definitely mugs. There was so many. I wanted to bring you a mug back actually because I had a Baymax mug that would have been perfect for you. I remember telling you, but I just couldn't. I was like, I can't take mugs back. There's just no way in my suitcase, because I was going traveling afterwards. I was doing like a guided trek and then doing New York and then flying. So it's like they are not going to last.
No.
So probably they had a gorgeous tangled mug actually that was like the handle was the tower.
Oh yeah, I've seen pictures of this.
Yeah,
it's so
gorgeous.
Yeah.
I know. And ironically as well, like a Marvel Loungefly bag.
Oh, interesting.
I wasn't really a Marvel person at the time, but it was just gorgeous. But because I wasn't enough as like a Marvel fan, it wasn't. I couldn't.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But do you know what? There weren't that many merch things because I was excited to bring them back for other people.
Yeah.
I got my sister like the Frozen Fever and an Elsa doll. I was so excited about that.
Oh,
I got my brother from Universal like the Triwizard Cup as like an actual. So it was more about like other people. Like I said, I was frustrated that I couldn't bring like your cup back. But there wasn't a lot because I was quite careful. I prefer spending my money on experiences.
Yeah, like going out for food, like character meals and sort of
like I'd buy like little bits obviously, and like, oh, I actually bought my my cast member lanyard. I'm happy that I bought one of those. That's one that I'm gutted I didn't buy. When you go to Disney University, which I'll talk about I feel like we're gonna have to do another one of these because so much
I think so.
When you go to Disney University, which is like the first like training that you do, there's like a shop in there for cast members, which is where I got my cast member lanyard, which I'll talk about next time. But they have in there like photo frames for your badge. And it's one of those things I was like, yeah, like I'll get it. I never did, and I'm really gutted that I didn't get that because I don't think you can't get them anywhere else. I think you can get them in a shop maybe, but I'm a bit gutted I didn't get that because that was like a one of a kind thing that I couldn't really get anywhere else. So yeah, maybe one day we'll find one online. That's probably the big thing that I do regret not getting was that. Yeah, it's like a photo frame that then like frames the badge like around it.
Oh, that's cute. That sounds really nice.
I went to Disney, so it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you got some good benefits out of it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think we probably will need to do another episode on this because I've still got like literally so many questions right next to me, but I'm also like I don't know how long we've been going on for, so I don't want to go on for like 5 hours. by accident. So yeah, I think it's been really fun though, like finding out things, because there's definitely some things you said there that I didn't know in as much detail as you said them. So I think, yeah, we'll definitely do like a full episode at some point.
It's crazy because I haven't really touched on even just on working there, like guest stories and like because I got to work in Magic Kingdom as well, and like what that was like, because like, working in Magic Kingdom is a completely different experience to working in any other park as well, like actually walking past Peter Pan. So yeah, we'll definitely have to do, maybe do like a more like Disney like secret one. We can maybe get people to submit their questions.
Yeah, maybe Q&As like from other people on Instagram would be good, because then we'll be answering exactly what people want to hear as well. So yeah, think of this as like an intro to that episode, maybe like a snippet of what's to come.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Moving on then to fun fact number 2. It's quite a long one, but it is a good one. So Florida's weather is pretty unpredictable, with the torrential rains and hurricanes that hit the state. Winds alone can get upwards of 125 miles per hour, so having a strong infrastructure is a must. That's why the gorgeous stone appearance of Cinderella Castle isn't exactly what it seems. The castle is actually made up of concrete, cement, plaster, steel and fiberglass to withstand dangerous weather.
Wow, it's such a special castle. Did you also know, extra fun fact for you, it's actually not as tall as you think it is. So, you know, like the steeples at the top, like the little towers, they are pushed further back and are kind of like made of a certain material to make it look taller. But
so it's
actually
like an illusion, a clever illusion. Yeah,
they basically like, I think, are they pushed back, or like the way they're kind of like made is made to look higher than they actually are. Something to do as well with like the fact that they can't be too high because of aviation rules as well. So yeah, I love that fact. I love that castle, to be fair. They're very clever with the castles as well. So
yeah, and it's just been redecorated, hasn't it, as well?
I'm so excited to see it again. It looks completely different, because I used to associate it with blue and now it's pink, so it's weird.
Yeah, it's kind of more pink now as well, because the Disneyland Paris one is very pink and I like that about it.
Yeah,
it's always been quite pink, but when you see the others that are really pink now, it's quite weird seeing them.
Yeah, it is bizarre.
In colour.
Right, so we shall move on to our next segment. I have to cut these down a little bit now. Our dream Disney jobs. So we've made our love Clever Disney over the last 5 episodes.
Yes.
So probably it's no surprise that it's a company we both want to work with, and basically like build careers in. It's my ultimate goal. I know it's Rosie's ultimate goal as well. Yeah. And that it's funny actually, because work at Disney, actually, I initially wanted to be like an actress and kind of like work within theatre. I was like, I don't care like about the money, it's fine. And then I went and worked for Disney and I was like, I want to work for Disney. And that kind of changed my whole career outlook. That was when I came back from Disney and started looking at actual real life jobs that weren't acting, which was really weird. It just shifted my whole career perspective. Which is really cool. So we'll now discuss the type of jobs within the Disney company that we would be interested in. So I'm quite interested, I think I know, Rosie, but like what kind of areas would you be interested in working in within Disney?
So so for this section we're talking about like ones that we want to achieve as well, because there's obviously loads that we want to do, but as we were saying in the introduction, we don't have the experience or like talent, quite frankly, for some of them. So I've got like a few, but like I think I want to go into a management role within Disney, like some sort of like project management role, but specifically like I've realized I think I'd want it to be in merchandising, because I love merchandise, like not just Disney merchandise. I love it. So like when I'm on Instagram, I'm scrolling, I love it when I see people post content about merchandise, and I just think like I'd love to have some sort of like input with the merchandise that Disney bring out. Obviously like maybe not the designer, because again talent is needed, but like to be able to manage the team and help lead them, and you know, them show the ideas and we come to a final decision.
I think you'd be great at that, Jen. That would be like your absolute niche.
Oh, thanks. I'm glad you confirmed that it could be possible.
I think it could be though.
Yeah, I think it's just something that I can just imagine like kind of helping these people like design like Disney plushies, and it'd just be great because I'd be doing like leading a team, which is ultimately like my passion, because I love leading groups of people, and I love like managing projects and stuff, but it'd be a project that I'm interested in, so it's Disney related, but it's also like one of my other interests, which is things like merchandise and specifically plushies. Obviously that'd be a tiny niche within everything else, but like I just know that I'd wake up every day and just be so happy and excited to go to work and see what people have come up with, and then when it gets released, on like the websites and stuff, or like in the stores, I would be like beside myself of excitement that I was like somehow involved in that process.
That's so cool. Well, I think that's what I felt when I was there. It was like, because you're doing things that you care about. Like I remember working in the living for a little bit, and we changed it into a temporary t-shirt shop, and I spent 12 hours on my own in there folding t-shirts. It was the best shit ever because I had no guests and I had aircon. It was great. And I was folding all these t-shirts and I was like, I'm having that one, and I like I like budgeted for when I was going to buy these t-shirts, because I then basically spent most of my wage back on Disney. And I think that's the thing, is when you're passionate about what you do and you would buy the stuff that you're making.
Exactly. Yeah.
Makes it so much better. So yeah, I think that would be great. I think that would be really good for you.
Thanks. Yeah. So, well, Disney, where are you at?
If you're listening, hit us up.
Please.
sprinkledisneypodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, we're available for all opportunities. So that's like one of the main things. I think it's the one that I'd be the most passionate about. But also, I love writing. So I did my degree in English language and linguistics. So I love language, and I love like analysing language, but I also love using language to write things. Like I've got a blog, we both got blogs. So we're both kind of interested in that anyway. So I'd love to do something a bit like, Oh My Disney, like that sort of page. So like maybe like social media posts, or like blogs for Disney, or just like maybe even like editorials for Disney, like articles and stuff. Like I definitely love to do that, because that combines like a few passions in one thing.
Great, actually.
So that's like another like creative, that's more creative, I guess, because I'd have more creative input in that, that would be like my work. So I guess that's like a different one, where if I didn't go into management, I'd love to do that. That'd be really cool. Yeah, they're like my two like ones I feel like could be achievable, like with my experience and my talent. So yeah, I think they're the ones I'd want. And I think the crazy thing with Disney though is like when you look it up and you go on the careers website, there's just so many jobs. Like literally, if you've got like a passion for like some sort of job, Disney have probably got that job like available. So if you love Disney, you could just pair them together.
I know.
And then you've got your dream, like your dream company and dream job together. So yeah, so that's mine. So I feel like I kind of know where you're going to go with yours as well. But what's your like dream Disney job?
So I've planned out my roadmap for this. So as I've probably mentioned before, I did my master's in marketing. So after I came back from Disney, I decided, right, like what do I want to do? So I started looking at jobs and realised I was really into obviously working with people and creative ideas and stuff like that, and obviously and leading and management as well. So I kind of arrived at marketing, and that's what I would love to do. I'd love to do marketing and communications within Disney, kind of within anything. I mean, obviously within the, as you're saying about jobs, there's so many marketing jobs. There's like the streaming platforms, there's Disney TV, there's Disney Channel, there's the movies, there's the merchandise. I think I'd prefer to work within either like the films department, or I'd love to, I mean, I'm planning it already, moving back to Florida and being like head of marketing or head of communications or whatever for Disney parks would be amazing. That would be amazing. That's like my dream role. I'd also absolutely love to be Disney CEO. Well, to do it.
We've talked about this before.
We have, because I don't know if any of you even like read Bob Iger's autobiography. I know Rosie and I lent it to Rosie. I was like, Rosie, you have to read this book.
So good.
And he kind of like came all the way up from like an internship like style position at ABC right the way up, and I just think that's a role that I can actually see myself in, like in obviously way in the future. But it's a job that I think I would just love, because I think you get to oversee all the different parts of it, like what a legacy, and there needs to be a woman. There've been all men.
Well, so, that is the other thing. We need
one of us needs to do it.
Yeah, so we won't be annoyed at who gets there.
No,
we'll be proud.
God, no. Well, because whoever is the CEO can then kind of like, because that's what I kind of realised when I was reading the book by Bob, is he was saying that like the head of communications was like his second in command, if you like, as well.
So whatever, it's kind of a win as long as you get one.
So I would just love to do that. Like when you watch the adverts on television, or you just see like the Disney marketing ads or the trailers or whatever, like that's what I want to do. When they have their like park trailers and like bring the magic to you, and I just think it's beautiful, so.
I can see you doing that as well, because having seen what you've done with like even with like the Disney Society, obviously that was before you were doing a marketing masters, but like even then you could tell that obviously you were passionate for like social media and like kind of promoting stuff, so like it definitely would suit you. It would be really nice.
I think it's just something that I would like you say, I'd really enjoy again, and I think you're sharing it with people who love it as well, and I love Disney's tone on social media as well.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like I'd be happy with any of it, like with Disney,
Mhm.
ABC, like Marvel's like Instagram is insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I would love to do.
I think that's the thing. Like, there's so many options.
And
That you can't really lose. Like, as soon as you're in as well, you could probably like maybe change like where you
well,
want to
that's what you
go.
see quite a bit, like within especially within like the higher up management roles, they do move
Mhm.
around quite a bit, and I think that's what I think with something like Disney, once you're in,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a lot easier to kind of like find your feet, find your space, move around. And I really want to
Yeah.
work for something international as well. That's something I really want to do and
Mhm.
travel. And I think that company would give me the chance to do that as well.
Yeah, and I think it just shows that you can progress within the company, and that they're not like, you're not stuck in the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's nice to have goals like within a company that you're really passionate about as well.
Yeah. And I had so many people say to me after I worked there, like, doesn't it take the magic away? And I was like, no, it actually made the magic so much stronger for
Yeah,
me,
like you
because
even more desperate.
yeah, because you kind of like, you get to show that you get to be part of the magic, you get to kind of see it in action every day,
Yeah.
you get to like make that, you get to see what goes into making it, and you get to experience it. And so I experienced it for like 3 months long. Like
Mhm.
I had like a Disney graduation in my
Yeah.
flat complex. Like it was great. So yeah. Well, I'm convinced we'll get there someday. We'll get there.
I
Our
hope
paths
we will.
have been delayed. Like my 5-year plan has been delayed by COVID, not gonna lie.
Yeah, well,
Because that is the
yeah.
one downside, is that Disney want a lot of experience. So
Yeah.
they do have, if you're in university still, take a year out, even if you don't, this is honestly what I wish I had done, because you can do, they have their internships, but they're only for people who are returning to university the year after. So I wish I'd known that, because honestly I would have taken a year out.
Yeah, that would have been really cool.
So
would have been helpful.
if you don't have that, basically they want between 3 to 5 years experience for anything. Well,
Yeah.
actually, sometimes it's like I've seen one for 12 years experience.
Yeah.
So I've applied for loads. To be honest, I've applied for so many different jobs and not even gotten to the second. And I've already worked for them before.
It's very competitive.
And haven't even got past like the application stage. It's so competitive. So I think it's a company that you kind of have to like just keep trying.
Yeah, keep trying, and I think it's also like worth the wait. So like,
yeah,
it's kind of like, yeah, okay, you might be rejected like along the lines, or you might not hear back from them. But as you get more and more experience, you might find the next time you apply, that you've hit the point where they're like, actually, this person's now got the experience we wanted. So yeah, it's kind of like, you got to be Tiana and just keep going, and then
she is my spirit animal. Honestly,
and then your dream will come true.
Whenever I'm struggling, I watched it the other night, actually, a few nights ago, because I had a bit of like a busy week at work, and I was like, just watch Tiana and you remember that you're fine.
She just brings you back down to earth. You're like, okay, actually, no, you do have to work for life. It's not plain sailing.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. So then the next question is interesting. So if you could literally do any job within Disney that you would need like more specific training or experience or talents that we don't have, without sounding like we're untalented, because we're not, what would it be? So that's like your dream Disney role, excluding all like the requirements.
It's funny because honestly my dream Disney role is what I've already talked about.
Yeah, I think like, yeah, it probably will be that.
But I mean, being an Imagineer,
yeah,
having the ability to kind of create a ride and put it in a park, and then have people like have such emotional connection to the ride, like
yeah, it's so appealing.
Hours to do it, and to like do it again and again, and to create those experiences that will last years. And
exactly, you're really making a mark with that as well. So
yeah, I think that must be incredible. Kind of getting to shape that down from like the drops of the roller coaster to the music to that, I think that must be amazing. So I'd love to do that. But I don't have any engineering experience or design experience or drawing experience.
So the requirements,
I'd probably score like a 1 for creativity. That would be like what out of 100 for the skills, I'd get my 1 point for being a creative person, and beyond that they'd be like, sorry.
I feel like we could come up with an idea between us that we think's really good, and then if we like try to show them it, they'd be like, no, like no.
Because we draw it as stick people, and they'd be like, can you
they'd be like, absolutely not, screw it up, chuck it in the bin, and that's our dreams over.
Oh dear, what about yours? I think I know what yours is.
Well, I've got like 3 actually. So Imagineer was one of mine as well, just because like, who doesn't want to do that? Like, it's very appealing and it's cool. Imagine saying like, oh yeah, I'm just an Imagineer, you know, like really cool.
Yeah, imagine like someone being like, oh, like what do you do? Well,
Yeah,
have you ever been in Space Mountain?
yeah, like it's like, oh, like you're automatically like 10 times more interesting
More
than you were.
interesting.
So I'm all for that. But also like my second one is I'd love to be an animator because animation is
I
my
knew
thing.
you were going to say that.
Yeah, I love animation. I appreciate it so much. And they're my favorite films and series, animated ones. So if I had the talent to do that, I would love it because I'm in awe of that kind of thing. So people that do that, I'm just like, wow.
I think as an adult you appreciate it so much more. Like
Yeah,
I was watching
definitely.
I was watching Princess and the Frog the other night, like I said. And obviously they went back to hand-drawn animation for that. And I was watching it, I was like, how do people do this? Like I'm still baffled by how someone creates that from a drawing. I'm still baffled.
And then it's a moving picture and it's just like it is mind-blowing.
And all the details in the background, like you think about like the bayou scene from Princess and the Frog.
Yeah.
All the different leaves and the ripples and then I watched Pocahontas 2 nights ago. And you know when they have like the wind through her hair and her
love that.
And I just think like how has someone done that?
I know. It is amazing. And I have like all of the art of the film, not all of them, like my favourite films, art of the film books, because I just love looking through like the initial sketches and then if it's come from that to like what's in the film, it's just amazing. Yeah. So yeah, and then my last one would be to be a like conservationist with Disney, so to work with the animals in Animal Kingdom.
That would be so cool.
Just I love animals, as you probably know from like the last few episodes. Well, probably just from Snow White alone.
True.
So yeah, I think they would be like the 3 that I'd love to do.
You just reminded me, I forgot one. Because it's my biggest Disney, what I would love to do.
Oh.
This is my dream role. I would love to be friends with Rapunzel. Now, when you hear me friends with, so you may be confused. So, as we all know, Disney characters are real. So nobody plays Rapunzel because Rapunzel's Rapunzel. Yeah. So you can like be friends with Rapunzel. So it means you get to hang out with Rapunzel a lot. That's what I mean when I say that.
I see.
See. So like I would be friends with Pooh. But like if I was friends with Pooh, like, you might not see me with Pooh a lot because like we hang out when people can't see us, you know. So I would absolutely, that is my absolute dream. Yeah. Is to be friends with Rapunzel. Yeah. When I used to go and visit Rapunzel, I was just like, oh, I want to be your friend. I remember I went through like a swimming phase when I was at uni in my first year, and I was like, just keep swimming so I can have a body so that I can be friends with Rapunzel. Because my friend actually, Laura, who is fantastic, I met her in Disney World. She is actually working in Disneyland Paris at the moment, and she is currently friends with Belle.
Amazing!
And from time to time, depending on the time of year, depends when like Ray's around. She's also really good friends with Ray as well. So she has the best pictures.
That's so cool.
So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty jealous of her friendships. Yeah. So yeah, I think, I mean, it's definitely still doable. I still have to do it, but I'm definitely not the body type or like the anything. And apparently I'm only told to play Mr. Smee, so that's great.
So that's quite sad. Like
honestly,
it's quite brutal as well. Like when
I mean, I think I'd be an excellent friend to Mr. Smee. Yeah, I think I have the buoyance and the bubbliness. But it's just not like, you know, the enchanting charm of
it's
Rapunzel,
not
is
what
it?
you want to be like written down as like.
I mean, imagine someone asking you what you do for life. Like, oh, I'm friends with Mr. Smee.
They'd be like, sorry,
a bumbling fat idiot.
Yeah. Yes, it's not the same. Like, no shade to Mr. Smee, because, you know, great character.
I think it would be fantastic. When I told my friend Abby, she literally nearly wet herself. When I
mean, yeah, I'm struggling not
every now and again, she just sends me Mr. Smee gifts. What was it?
I might have to start doing that.
She was watching like something like a parade or on TV or something. She just sends me screenshots of Mr. Smee now. It's a personal attack, actually. It's pretty weird.
Oh, right. Okay, I won't do that then.
So I completely forgot. Yeah, that's my absolute dream role.
Okay.
I used to get quite jealous when I saw Rapunzel on the float. I was like, I want to be up there on the parades. But it's fine. I'm over it. I got to sell Star Wars toys. It's fine.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, you've still got a long way to go, and you don't know. You never know what's going to happen.
People were like, "Can you get me an Ewok?" And I was like, "No." You know what that
Yeah,
is?
to be fair, if you don't know what that is, then that name
It was
is
very
like
stressful because honestly, we used to have iPads so we could like check the stock across Disney properties. So you'd be able to be like, "Oh, we haven't got it in here. Let me check somewhere else."
Yeah,
So I used to be like, "Let me just check in the iPad before I go and look in the back." And I
every
was like, "How
single
do you
time.
spell that?"
Oh,
It was
that's
actually a nightmare.
hilarious.
Or they'd be like, "Oh, like do you have the like next generation or like the or like the prequel colored lightsabers
Oh
from
my
the
goodness.
film?"
Oh
And
yeah,
I'm
this is the
like,
thing. Yeah, like
"Oh, sorry, I'm on my break now."
conveniently, I can't help you with this. Yeah, Star Wars fans are just so hardcore as well.
They
So
are.
like they don't understand that if people haven't seen it, it's a complicated universe.
I
So
mean, I
asking for
couldn't
an
really say
Ewok.
it, could I? I couldn't really go, "Oh, yeah, sorry, I haven't seen it."
Yeah, like soz, I work in a Star Wars shop.
I think I used to be like, "Oh, I haven't seen that one in a while." Ever.
Imagine if it was like the most recent one. Oh, that's really funny
Oh,
though.
dear.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Yeah. Right, anyway, we'll move on from this now. So that's the end of that segment. So that brings us to Disney fun fact number 3. So the Walt Disney Company ranks really highly on Forbes' list of the world's best employers for 2018, placing 4th on the annual list that is based on Forbes' global 2000 ranking. So 4th out of 2000 is pretty impressive.
That's insane. Yeah.
And that kind of includes like 60 countries across the world. So that's insane.
It's mad.
So,
I looked as well, like in 2019 they were 17th, which is obviously lower, but still like out of that many,
yeah,
that's impressive.
and I think because obviously they had quite a lot of movement, because obviously they had the uncertainty around like Bob Iger's
a lot going on,
chairmanship and stuff as well, so it's probably why it's gone down. But I mean,
still that number, like
it's
that's
impressive,
very,
isn't it?
very
In the
impressive.
world.
Yeah.
So we clearly have good plans,
So yeah, it's clearly not a bad place to
No.
work.
Some people will disagree with us, and that's one thing I would say is that people do tend to slag Disney off sometimes for working. I can only go from my experience. I was really happy. The pay for me was £2 an hour higher than what I was getting paid in the UK. I got really good hours. The only thing is, like I said before, about in terms of like sick leave and sick pay and stuff like that, like they are quite strict with that. Like I think you're only like allowed to call out a certain amount of times a month, which was quite a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it's quite intense.
If you don't feel well, you don't feel well,
Yeah, you can't help that.
So that was the only part of it that I felt was a bit much. And you couldn't carry over to say, like, I had 2 days, like I think was it 2 or 3 times you could call in, but then when it hit the next month you kind of couldn't carry those over, which wasn't great, because you could like not be off for like 3 years and then or whatever, I don't know, but that was the only down part of it. But other than that, I mean, I know people say there's like stories of like cast members sleeping in their car and
there's
like
lots
that.
of like horror stories, isn't there?
But I'll be honest, I didn't experience that. And I was an international person, so I probably would have been taken advantage of more anyway.
And also, like, you hear lots of good stories as well, so it's it kind of balances out. And I think obviously, like, you can only take from it what you have experienced. So, and what your expectations are as well. It's about managing expectations, and a lot of people might expect too much. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I say, I mean, the pay was decent for what it was. I mean, I got paid quite a bit, I felt. I mean, the rent from Disney, I'll be honest, was quite extortionate for what I shared a room. There were 6 of us in the flat. I think I paid like over $100, $150 a week. For a shared bedroom.
So that's quite a lot for sharing,
which was a lot, but obviously it also includes like all your travel and stuff, like to and from work. But yeah, that was the one thing I would say, is that in terms of like as an employer, I was really, really happy. The training we received was like second to none. I had like at least 2 weeks training before I even like stepped out. So yes, I would agree with that personally. But other people may disagree, and that's absolutely fair. But from my experience as an international employee there, it was fantastic.
And I think like for such a big company, there's always going to be lots of different opinions anyway.
Of course. And it depends on the manager. Like even when I was there, because they were called leaders there as opposed to managers, and even when I was there, we had about 5 or 6, and there was like my favorite manager. I think he moved to the Polynesian resort in the end. He was fantastic. I loved him. He was great. Like I used to love when he was on shift. But there was like 1 or 2 managers that I was like,
Yeah, not
They
quite as
no,
magical, not quite as there.
not quite as like thoughtful about
Yeah,
the cast members, and that was just in my area, so I can get it.
yeah,
Leadership has a huge impact, and it's such a big company that if your leader isn't great, you are going to suffer and you are going to
yeah,
struggle. So I was just
definitely.
lucky that I had enough good managers
Yeah.
to balance out the bad ones.
Yeah. Yes, well, we will discuss more of that in our whenever we do this episode, because we're definitely going to do an episode, I feel.
Yes. So yes, I do feel like that fun fact for me is accurate. I think it was a great place to work, even in terms of benefits. It was great.
Yeah, yeah. So moving on to our segment 3. So this is, we're kind of going to do like a would you rather, but like it's based on like
Ooh.
Disney ambitions. We've kind of done a couple of these anyway, but it'll be
Mm.
interesting to see what we go for when we have to like pick
God.
one. So yeah, we'll do a would you rather with some different Disney job roles. We'll take it in turns to read them out and both answer them. So I'll do the first one. So would you rather be an Imagineer or an animator?
That's such a hard question. I'm going to go Imagineer. That's when my gut goes Imagineer. I think I would love to be able to draw, but I think I can imagine myself being creative enough to at least try to be an Imagineer, but I can't draw to save my life. So
yeah, okay, that's fair. Well, I'm going to go animator.
yes, that's good. We can both have a job.
I just think, like in another life, that's what I was meant to be. But yes,
maybe you could take a drawing class. I don't know.
maybe.
My friend Saif, actually, if you're listening, Saif, hey, he actually is kind of training to be a Disney animator. Well, he's training to be an animator, and his goal is to be Disney animator. He's amazing. So
Yeah.
go Saif. So Rosie, would you rather work in Disneyland California or Tokyo Disneyland?
That's really hard, actually. I regret writing this one down because it's hard.
Because we haven't been to either, have we?
No, but that's why I put it down, because I was like, neither of us have been to either of these. I think I just have to go with California just because it's the OG. Like, I know it probably sounds a bit basic because Tokyo is super interesting and different, but I think I just have to go with California.
Yeah, I think I'd be the same, actually, even from like a language barrier perspective as well.
Well,
like,
yeah,
that
like,
too. From
a
culture perspective as well, like,
and
also, like you say, it's the original one. Like, it's the culture there. And I think I've never been, but I think it's a lot more intense there because you know that Walt has walked those streets.
Yeah, I think I just feel the magic, like just feel it more
we
there.
Hope. Let's watch us go, and it'd be really disappointing.
Yeah, well, let's hope not. Okay, next one then. Would you rather work with animals in Animal Kingdom or work behind the scenes on the fireworks shows?
Oh my god, that's such a hard one because I've actually imagined doing both.
I've made these a bit hard.
Okay, I'm going to go work behind... I was originally going to go with the animals, but I'm not. I'm going to go behind the scenes in the fireworks shows because when I was there, I remember sitting there and like watching the light shows and being like, oh my god, how cool would it be to like just practice this of an evening?
Yeah.
And I know you put that together. So I would go behind the scenes in the fireworks show because the impact that has on people is insane.
Yeah, I knew you were going to go with that one.
I think I could do that with enough training because I do have technical training in lighting and projection and sound. So
exactly, and it's a show as well, so I felt like that's probably
that
more.
is a me thing.
Yes.
Although I did want to be a zoologist in a former life before I realised I had to take biology.
Former life.
Yeah, that's my course problem. In Glasgow. I picked my course, but I was like, don't want to do biology.
This is the only problem with animals, is it requires like scientific knowledge, and I just want to care for the animals.
The animal scientific knowledge, but when you have to know the human stuff as well, I don't care.
You learn stuff that you don't actually need for the animals because it's like a course. But anyway,
so I'm gonna guess yours is the animals one.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, I another life, like I would have worked with animals as well. So basically, I would have been an animator in one life, then I would have been a conservationist in another life.
Rosie needs to be a cat when dying separate lives.
I do. I need to try all of these things out.
Okay, would you be a non-human character? So that would be a fair character, is how they would call it.
Yes.
Or a face character, which is a human character in the park. So, example, would you be Mickey versus Belle? Would you prefer?
So I'd rather be a fur-based character because I thought we'd be opposite on this actually. So I don't mind interacting with people, but I think I'd prefer it if I didn't have to maintain like so much of the interaction, just because I'm more of an introvert. But I'd like to still be a character, so I think I'd like to be like a huggable character.
That's funny actually, because I think you would look like you'd be great friends with Belle, which is funny. That's how I'd imagine you. So.
Oh, thank you. Maybe I'll try it.
I think that's funny actually, because I think I would obviously go for the human character one, the face character. But that's also probably because of the heat in those. But I would also love to
true. Well, yeah. So
I think you probably got a lot more freedom in the fairy characters as well, because you're not like obviously like your face isn't necessarily visible, and you've got like a lot more like it's more expression and like hug based and stuff. Whereas like I think it can probably be a little bit more awkward if you're a face
People
character.
can find me seeing face characters awkward as well, because there's like more. I think they think there's more of an expectation to interact because like they're looking directly at you. So, yeah.
Trying to talk to them as well. Whereas obviously with the fair characters, you don't. We do talk, but they don't talk.
They just like touch your ears, and you're like, oh, cool, thanks. It's cute. Okay, would you rather work in a Disney merchandise / consumer based role, so basically what I was talking about before, or a production and entertainment role?
Definitely production and entertainment role. I feel like I did Disney merch and consumer within my merchandise job. It was great, but my interests do lie more within production, shows, entertainment, that side. So I definitely prefer that. Yes. I'm assuming. So which one would yours be?
Well, who knows? If you've been paying attention, you'll know it's the merchandise one. I want some kind of input on it.
Picked opposites on every single
I know,
one.
how amazing though. It just shows how different we are, but we align somehow.
Yeah, that's true. So would you rather work on Disney props or Disney costumes?
This is actually a really hard one. I'd probably go props, I think, just because I don't have a lot of like textiles knowledge or like.
That's really funny because I'm like costumes.
Yeah, see, it's so funny. I promise we haven't planned this, by the way.
We actually haven't.
Like, this is legit answers. I thought you'd go for costumes as well. It shows how well we know each other, though, that we're predicting which ones we'd go for.
Yeah, I just think the costumes are just so beautiful. I think about all the
they are.
And the villain costumes. Oh my god, I've got another answer for the dream Disney role. Winifred Sanderson in the Hocus Pocus show. I'm sorry, that's my calling.
Well, then, I mean, I have to also be Mary, despite the fact I don't like Mary. But I am apparently Mary in our friendship group, so it's fine.
Because you like food. Listen, mine is a bossy witch who's got like, she's the ugliest one of all of them.
But she's hilarious. Oh,
she is, to be fair.
Yeah.
So actually, I forgot about that one because I know it's only very niche, but I've watched that show and that is actually a dream.
Yeah, that's fair.
They're quite different.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Last one.
Yeah. So also, I made this up.
Yeah, I can see that. I love this.
So, would you rather be a Disney chef in a Disney park or be a Disney snack Imagineer? Okay, so what I mean by that is the person who comes up with the Disney designs for snacks. Okay, I understand that someone that makes snacks is also a chef or a baker, right? But like the people that come up, I
understand what you mean. It's just quite a funny phrase.
Just not. I tried to look it up earlier, by the way, and I couldn't find a name for it.
Well,
so I called it a snack.
Rosie, that's why.
Yeah, but I can't be like, would you rather be a chef or a chef? Like, so snack Imagineer is now a thing, people. So, which would you rather be?
Please include that on your application to Disney. I would introduce Disney snack Imagineers. I'm better at cooking than I am at baking, so we'd probably go with Disney chef. Even though, like, I think I would be great because I did work in the sweet shop, so actually, it does fit me. But I think in terms of my actual talents, I'd probably be better at that. Even though I probably would prefer to like just roll things in chocolate. Yeah, it's a bit of both actually. I think I would I enjoy kind of the general cooking more than just baking because my baking's a bit it's either really good or it's terrible.
I'm kind of the same. Like, I'm definitely a better cook than I am a baker. I like to think I could bake and then I do it and things burn and I'm like, oh. So I'd probably be a better chef, but I think I'd rather be a snack Imagineer and not just because I came up with the name. It's just the most interesting, I feel. So I think that was interesting, like how different, we're very different, literally every single.
Think we are quite different in our approach. Like obviously Rosie and I are on our Disney Society committee together and we we have very similar work ethics and very similar values, but we work quite differently. So like I'm much more of like we're both outgoing, but I think I'm a lot more outgoing people wise, whereas Rosie tends to fit more in with like organization management, like the strategic level of management, I think, whereas I'm probably more the people level. I mean, we both do both, but I think with what we prefer.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, because so I think that's reflected in those ones, because even things like Imagineer and Animator, like Animator is probably still more like individual than an Imagineer, so yeah. Which is funny because I hate people, but
well, so do I, but I just show it.
That's true. I've had to practice a lot harder doing theatre to pretend that I like
Yeah.
people. Clearly, I'm just a better actor, which means I can work with people more.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Yeah, so that was fun.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Our last fun fact of the episode is, according to Forbes, as of May 2020, there are approximately 223,000 people employed by the Walt Disney Company. So that just shows how like competitive it is, because they have that many people working for them. There's that many roles. Like, that's so many people.
That's insane.
That's literally nearly 250,000. I hope I'm right in saying that. To be honest, I had to like read the numbers a few times to make sure I was saying it right. But yeah, that is a lot of people. So hopefully we'll be in those numbers soon. Well, yeah, you've done it already.
I was. I'm not there anymore. That's
maybe it'll be like a permanent number.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, that's our dream.
And then we can go to Disney parks and not have to pay.
Yes.
That was the best part of the job, not gonna lie.
I was gonna say that's a huge perk.
It was literally the best part of the job. I was just like and that's it. That's a wrap on that session. I hope you've enjoyed it. I know it was probably a little bit more casual than we've kind of had in the past, but I think that's what we do best.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, so hopefully you've enjoyed it. Obviously, if you have enjoyed, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts or follow us on Podbean. Obviously, like when you click on our link, we've got the link tree in our Instagram now, so you can kind of go onto Podbean via that link, and you can literally like create an account and subscribe and follow. That'll be great. And we're also incredibly excited because this is episode number 5, and streaming through Podbean, you can't stream on Spotify until you hit 5 episodes. So we are now officially, I hope I'm saying this, I haven't even thought it, but I'm thinking we should be now streaming on Spotify, so we're really excited. So if you can leave a review on any of those platforms, we'd absolutely love to read them. It obviously kind of helps our kind of viewings and ratings a bit as well, and the more we kind of get, the more likely we are to do more as well.
Yes.
Please make sure you obviously leave an Instagram handle as well, so we can kind of just like thank you and kind of connect on there as well. So yes, that's us for this week. So keep an eye out on all the different ones, and then if you could also have a little look on Spotify, and we should be, I'm so excited to be on Spotify.
I know, it just feels even more official, like as we add more platforms.
I can't believe we've hit 5 seemed so far away a few weeks ago, like a few months ago.
Well, when we were planning it, 5, yeah, it's a lot.
I was like, we're never going to get to Spotify. Yeah, here we are. So thank you very much for listening.
Yes, and then coming up next time, we're back to our Disney Classics slot, and we'll be discussing Pinocchio.
Oh no.
In all its glory. I say that. We'll be giving it a score out of 10 at the end of the episode, which means I probably won't decide until like 5 seconds before we get to that part of the episode. Yeah. I think it'll be really interesting because I personally can't remember the last time I watched that film.
No, me either. It's quite a niche Disney film. No one really talks about Pinocchio.
No.
But we're going to.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. We're going to both rewatch it, because if I don't rewatch it, I will have literally
nothing to say. We'll have to do more question and answer.
Yeah. So yeah, that will definitely be interesting. So feel free to watch it before the episode, so that you can see whether you agree/disagree with our opinions. Maybe you're a really big Pinocchio fan and this is your thing. So yeah, please make sure you join us for this episode if you are. And then yeah, as Katie said, please interact with us on Instagram and go and watch listen to us on YouTube. I mean, you can watch our logo if you want.
It's just our logo for like an hour.
Yeah, it might not be the most entertaining
thing. A nice logo, but
it is, yeah, it's lovely.
Shout out to Meg Design Stills for that. It's a great logo.
Honestly, it's so great.
Something you can just watch for an hour, I don't think, so you have to listen to us as well, sorry.
Yeah, I think you need to engage in a bit more than that. And then finally, if you've got any inquiries, as we've mentioned, we're going to hopefully do some ad slots with small shops at some point. So if you want to give us a message about that, then feel free to message us on our email address, which is a sprinkleofdisneypodcast@gmail.com. And we've been a Sprinkle of Disney. Have a magical rest of your day.